Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball repair video for you today. We are almost finished with this super sweet KISS pinball machine. We've got it parked right here next to its brother from another mother, Bally's 8-ball, that came out in, I think, 77. KISS came out in 79, but they're brothers. So we figured we would do one last video of us working on this KISS. We're about done with it. We've been working on it for a gentleman who dropped it off with us, and we've done one video where we showed the condition that it was in after sitting for years. We did another video where we worked on the power supplies. We did another video where we worked on the MPU. We did another video where we worked on the light boards, like that cool auxiliary board that makes the KISS logo work. And then we did another video where our buddy Brant came by and helped us get all the lights working. He's a big KISS fan, and we brought him in just so that we could have some authenticity here on this this build, you know. And now we're up to, we got some little minor stuff that we need to finish up. We need to check the switches. We need to work on the coils a little bit. And we need to slide the back glass back in and some stuff like that. So this is kind of what we're left with. Now, this thing has a lot of wear on it, obviously. The customer has told us that he wants to keep it original, even with the wear. So we've cleaned this up. The playfield has been cleaned and has new rubbers and everything, and all the bulbs are working and all that good stuff. But it does have a significant amount of wear in the middle. We've waxed the heck out of it, so hopefully it won't get any worse. But he wanted to leave it original. Same with the sides. We're not going to repaint them. He wants to leave it with the original paint, even though it's faded. He just likes that look. So that is cool with me. I think what we'll do is we'll slide it into switch test, and then we'll check all the switches and see if any of them aren't working, and then we'll work on fixing or repairing whatever isn't, adjusting some stuff. And then we've got, I know for a fact that the knocker coil is burnt up, so there's a little bit of stuff like that. Might have to work on the flippers a little bit. We've got a broken shoe here, so we got a little bit of stuff we have to do to get it finished up, but we're not far off. So let's check out the switches. Okay, so in the test mode, first time you hit it is all of your lamps. Now just for giggles, we're going to go into the solenoid test, which is the next time you hit it. Oh no, I'm sorry, the next time is the display. Now, as we mentioned, this display, the bottom line is missing. Unfortunately, it's the glass, so we haven't, the jury's still out on if we're going to fix that or not. And you'll notice that whenever this happens, the auxiliary display board does weird things. It's just because they use some of the same lines to run the displays and the everything, right? So it's no big problem. Okay, so on to the next one. So the next one is the solenoid test. Two is the only one that doesn't do anything. Let's watch our pop bumpers after that. Oh, we had an issue. Did you see that? We had an issue. 1, 2. Did you see that? One time the left one did it twice. Seems to have worked its way out. Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. Now, I've never heard that song, but Brant told me that's what it was. Okay, so the number 2 solenoid that's not working, it's the knocker, which is in the bottom. It's obviously burnt up just by looking at it. So we're going to swap that here in a little bit. But now we are in the switch test. See the 0 flashing? It's saying that there are 0 switches activated right now. So with our finger, we're going to activate each switch and see if it can recognize all of them. So let's start over here in the out lane. If you're a loser and you lost the ball, then you activated switch 34. In lane, switch 27. Otro in lane, switch 26. That's a little Spanish lingo thrown in there for you to keep you on your toes. the other in lane, out lane, 33, okay? Now if I hit the slingshot, I'm going to try not to hurt myself, 35, and I didn't hurt myself, 36. Now, by the way, I keep talking about that. It doesn't really hurt you if the thing hits you. It just scares you because you hear a big loud noise. Oh, it's trying to hit me. Okay, so all those are working. So now we're going to do the stand-ups. That's number 20. That's number 17. That's number 19. That's number 18. Okay, so now I'm going to do the left spinner. That's number 31. I'll do the right spinner. Number 30. Okay. Let's do the bumper there, the stand-up target, the stand-up rubber. 25. And there's usually several of those. Yeah, there's another one over here. It's also 25. The reason those are the same is because they score the exact same. It's usually 10 points, so it's just nothing special. And then we've got these rollover lanes at the top. So that one's 24. That one's 23. That one's number 5. That one's 22. That one's 21. Okay, stand-ups here. 15, 14, 13, and 12. So I'm going to try the 4 pop bumpers. 40, 37, 38, 39. And I heard a piece of dirt fall. All right, so that leaves us with the drop targets, which are a little problematic because when they fall, they hold the switch on, which screws up your test, right? So let's see here. So if I hit the first one, it tells me that number 1 is on, and it's still on because the drop target's down. Now, sometimes when you hit the other drop target, it'll change that. Nope, see, I hit the second drop target, but it's still telling me 1's on because it's saying, look, this switch is stuck, but it's a drop target, so it's supposed to be stuck. So we kind of figure out a way to do them one at a time. Sometimes, if you're very clever, oh, it worked for a minute. You can mess with the target and pull it back up. Now, if the playfield was propped up, I could get to it better. All right, so the second one's down now, and that's number 2. And then the third one, sometimes they have priority over each other. So sometimes you can, like, see, I dropped the first one, and it went back to number 1, even though just a second ago it was telling me number 2. So this one has priority, right? So if I lift 1, okay, it's now telling me that number 2's down. And if I lift number 2, I'm trying to do this with my hand so I don't, you can use something to, like a little flathead screwdriver or something, but then you might pry into the wood. Why would you do that? I can't believe you even suggested that. So number 3, the trick is to raise it without lowering the one next to it. Number 4, and then there is also a switch right behind them. If you're careful, it's number 25 too. Okay. All right, so all the switches work, but they're not all perfect, and I'll show you why. There's a couple things that are missing that we need to add back to it. Some of the switches you hit really fast with the ball. So for instance, these stand-up targets here. Well, you could see a situation where you hit it with the flipper, bam, hit that real fast and it bounces off. You may hit it so fast that the computer doesn't have time to see the pulse of the hit, right? Other ones you hit much slower. So like this one, if the ball rolls through there, it's going to take it a while to roll over that. That thing's going to be held down for maybe 0.2 of a second. But you might hit this one so fast that it's 100th of a second. I mean, if you're a real dead ringer like me, where you just hitting them real quick, who knows how fast that ball's going, right? So on some of the targets, they put a capacitor on the bottom of the target to widen out the pulse a little bit. I'm not an engineer, so that may be a wrong way of explaining it, but from what I understand, if you hit this one, since it's held down a while, it sends a nice fat pulse to the thing that it can understand. Does that sound right, Matt?
Yes, fat pulse, thick pulse.
Thick pulse. So what I'm saying is, Matt is an engineer, by the way, so he can help me with this. The rollover lanes, the ball goes through it slowly, which means when it rolls over the switch, it's held down longer.
Correct.
So the computer, it's easier for, now this is a very old 6800 based system, right?
Right.
So it's easier for it to see that on the switch, the strobe that reads the switches, okay?
Right.
Other ones, you hit real fast and the ball immediately bounces off of them like a little stand-up target. So there's only a very momentary, the switches just touch for a second, like not even a second, a hair of a second.
Right.
So they put capacitors across the two switch blades so that whenever it hit, it would make the pulse wider. Does that sound right?
Yeah, on the slow lanes?
Well, no, on the fast ones, the ones that you hit real fast. There's a capacitor on the switch.
That would put a delay in it. That'd make it easier to read, yes.
Okay, so it would make it where it was as if it was held together longer.
Right.
Okay, I thought I had that right. See, you don't have to be an engineer, folks. As long as an engineer gives you a little advice, you can just be a jack of all trades like me and understand why it's doing what it's doing. So some of these switches need a capacitor on them. So let me show you those, and then I'll tell you the problem with that. Okay, so we're looking at the bottom of the playfield, and I'm going to show you the difference in the switches. I've done this in a bunch of videos, so this is like, if you've seen the other videos, you've already seen this. But so here's one of the out lanes. So you see they've got a couple wires going to one switch, and then they've got another wire going to the other switch. And the actual blade is connected to the wire with a diode, blah, blah, blah. But you see how there was never any kind of capacitor on it. It's because whenever this is hit, it's hit for a while. And then if you compare that with this stand-up switch that gets hit faster, it's got the same setup, but then they added a capacitor across the two blades so that whenever they touch together, it like widens the pulse a little bit. See, that one's there. But this one's here, and it's been broke loose. And then this one, see how it's missing? You can see where it used to be, but it's missing. And this one, also missing. See where it used to be? And this one is still there. Okay, so on the pop bumpers, that one's still there. That one's still there. That one's still there, and that one's still there. So they're all still there. And then the stand-up at the top, I think it's this one, yeah. You can see where it's been removed. And over here, you can see where it's been removed. Well, why have they been removed? It's because they short together. And if they short together, if the cap shorts, it makes it where the switch is always on. So, interestingly enough, this one may have just broke loose. So I'm going to put it back and we'll see if that shorts the switch together. It does not. So that one just broke, right? But it's very common on these Ballys for if you have a switch that's stuck and it's one of the ones with one of these caps on it, check that cap to see if it's shorted. So if you cut it loose and the stuck switch goes away, that was your problem. But we need to put them on the ones that you hit fast so that it always scores properly. So I'm going to put new ones on it. Okay, so I have replacement ones here. The original ones were 0.05 microfarad capacitors that I use on the switches. The modern equivalent is 0.047. For whatever reason, they don't make 0.05 anymore. But anyway, so yeah, you just put one of these on there, and that fixes it. But you don't do it on all of them. In the manual, it actually shows. If you go look at the switch matrix in the manual, it will show on some of the switches there is a little capacitor drawn in. Now, Matt brought up an excellent point, and I'm glad he mentioned it because now I get to tell why Matt's wrong on camera. So what did you tell me, Matt?
I said sometimes capacitors are used on switches for debouncing.
See, I've had people tell me that before. Oh, no, Ron, you dumbass redneck. You don't know what you're talking about. They're used for debouncing, Ron. They're not used to make the pulse wider. Well, I don't know where you came up with that crap. They're used for debouncing. And so Matt told me the same thing, basically. But he was very nice about it. He just thinks that I'm a dumbass redneck, right? Well, if they're used for debouncing, why would you use them for debouncing in this application?
In this application, if it's supposed to give you 10 points on a score, keep you from getting like 30 if the ball bounces off of it.
So let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
It's because that never happens. The problem is sometimes you don't get that score. You never get 30 points when it hits it. So they're not used for debouncing, or that's what would be happening, right?
Right. It depends how they're hooked up.
Well, no, it doesn't depend on how they're hooked up. See, he was trying to tell me this earlier. It doesn't. So here's the problem, okay? If the damn ball hits the thing too fast, you don't get the points.
Right.
Well, in your world, you would say, well, you'd get 30 points. But that never happens. You don't get 30 points. There is not a debouncing problem. So the caps are not fixing the debouncing problem. If the cap's not on it, you don't get any points if it hits it too fast. But if the cap's on it, you always get your 10 points.
All right.
So no, it is not used for debouncing. I'm just giving them hell because people give me hell and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. It's not used for debouncing because it's never a problem where you get 30 points on the switch. The problem is the technology is so old, it doesn't strobe the switch matrix in a way where it can see all of the hits if they're like real quick.
Yeah,
it can miss it.
The scan rate's too low.
Yeah, exactly. Which they could probably fix. Could they fix that? And if you don't know, that's fine. But could they fix that without the capacitors by modifying the way the strobe works on the board? It's a 6800 based system.
They'd have to add like latches and stuff, and that'd be real expensive. A lot of extra.
So when it strobes the switches, how is it doing that?
When it strobes the switches.
So there's a switch matrix.
Right. So it's just grounding one column and then reading each row, and then grounding the next column and reading each row, and it's doing that scan.
Okay, and so there's a time, there's a clock, or there's a speed that it's doing that at.
Correct.
So what sets that speed?
Generally, that's just controlled by the switch matrix controller. Is there a separate one on this, or is it a software?
I don't know.
Okay, well, assuming it's software, then it's just your clock rate on your CPU.
Okay. So they'd have to increase the clock rate on the CPU to get it to scan faster?
Or they could add latches and
Well, would scanning it faster even catch it? A quick hit that it's missing?
I mean, eventually you get fast enough, but you're talking expensive hardware.
Oh, okay.
Or adding latches to, like, buffers. You know buffers.
Yeah.
So, but that's, again, expensive hardware. Capacitors are, what?
Super cheap.
Half a penny.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what's going on, people. So no, Matt, it's not debouncing it.
Yes.
God. Ugh. Hey, watch what happens if I hit this real fast, Matt. So I'm going to hit it real quick, okay?
All right.
Now I want you to look at the thing. Okay, I'm going to hit it real quick, and you're going to hear it hit.
Okay.
So this one here. So watch what, if I hit it slow, 13. Okay, what if I hit it real quick? Still did the 13.
Yep.
I want to see if I can do it with my hand quick enough that it will not do it, and then I can... Wait a minute. Oh, no, I was thinking I was doing the one with the cap on it.
There you go.
I did it quick enough with my hand, because I am really fast. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
Yeah. I am fast. I'm like, do you watch wrestling?
Let's see. Not really.
There's this girl, Bianca Belair, right? She calls herself the EST. It took me like 3 months to figure out what the hell she was talking about. I just thought she was cooler than me. Of course, we know that ain't true, but I thought she was cooler than me, so I didn't understand what she was talking about.
It was Eastern Standard Time Zone.
That's what I thought. I was like, well, I don't understand. Eastern Standard Time, does that mean she's from New York or something? I don't know what she's talking about. She's saying she's the fastest, the bestest, the quickest, the strongest, the smartest.
Oh, the EST, I get it.
The EST, right? She's the EST of wrestling. That makes complete sense now. I'm kind of like that with pinball.
Except for the getting good scores part.
Yeah, and understanding how it works part.
Yeah.
And the using the right words part.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm not the EST of pinball. I don't know.
You're like the ER, EIR.
But did you see the 13 pop up on there 3 damn times whenever I hit it?
I did not.
You didn't? Okay, so we don't need it to debounce. We need it to make the pulse wider, right?
That's right.
Okay, I'm glad you understand it now. So there you go, people. That's why you need those little caps. So I'm going to solder those on, the ones that need it. Now, you might say, well, Ron, if they short, why not take off all the old ones and then put on brand new ones, because then they wouldn't short. Well, I could, but then I'd have to explain to my customer why I'm charging him to replace stuff that isn't broke, you know. So I'm not going to do that. I've spent it long enough arguing with you about it. It's been 15 minutes or something.
I mean, that's charging $50 for that right there.
I'm not charging him for this. If he watches these videos, I'm not charging you for this, buddy. That's why we charge by the job instead of the hour, because I work real slow. All right, so we're going to put those little caps on the ones that need them, and then I think the switch matrix will be about done. All right, folks, so here is the switch matrix, and if you see, this left spinner is a typical one. Boy, that'd be a good one to put one on to debounce it.
There you go.
Wouldn't want that spinner giving you extra points. So that's a normal one. See how it just has a switch and the diode for the matrix? And then right next to it, it shows the thumper bumper, and see it has this capacitor drawn in. Right? So the ones that have a capacitor are the left thumper bumper, the right thumper bumper, the top thumper bumper, and the bottom thumper bumper. You can say that 4 times really fast. Wow. Okay. And then we're looking. We're just checking them all out. Let's see which other ones have it. The K target, the I target, the S upper target, and the S lower target. They have to differentiate because there are, in fact, 2 S's, right, in KISS. So both of those, all 4 of those have it. Those are the 4 stand-ups that are scattered around the playfield. The D, the C, the B, and the A, those are the 4 stand-ups that we were playing with just a second ago. And those are the only ones that need it. So it's just the ones that it has the potential for the ball to hit it real fast and bounce back off. Like the ones that don't have it are the outlanes, the slingshot. It's just ones that it can hit, you know, with basically a direct flipper shot that's going to hit it, and it could rebound off just immediately. They put a little cap on. So we'll solder them in, and we'll get onto the coil on the knocker. We'll check that out. Okay, folks, so you saw when we put it in solenoid test, the only one that wouldn't fire was number 2, which is the knocker. This is the knocker. And this thing is seized up bigger than hell. If I mess with it, I might be able to get it to move. But we just got issues here. So basically, if you're not familiar with the knocker, basically if you win a free game, this thing slaps the side of the cabinet. A lot of people don't know that. They'll buy a game from us that the knocker works on, and then they'll say, it keeps making this loud noise. There you go. That's what's making the loud noise. Someone has put this little connector in here so that you can unplug it if you wanted to. They must have got tired of hearing it. But it looks to me like it's burnt up. Now, if it's shorted, it could have screwed up the transistor on the solenoid board too. When we messed with the solenoid board, though, I didn't find any that were bad, I don't believe. Yeah, I didn't. They all seemed fine. So hopefully that's still cool, but we'll find out here shortly. So I'm literally just going to take a screwdriver, take it loose, and we'll take the wires loose, and we'll check it out. Okay, folks. Now, more pedantic stuff here. This is the knocker coil. Look at that. You're getting it in high def. Look at that. See the Bally logo there? So you can't read what it says that the coil should be, but if I go look in the manual tells me that this sucker is a AR 26-1200. AR 26-1200. Now, the out-hole kicker, all 4 thumper bumpers, both of the slingshots are AN 26-1200s. So here's our AR. Here is a AN 26-1200. We have a used one. I have another used one. We've got some new replacement ones. I got a bunch of them. I'm loaded when it comes to AN 26-1200s. So the 26 is the gauge of the wire, and the 1200 is how many revolutions around the bobbin that it is. Okay? So the question is, what's the difference between an AN and an AR? So that's an AR, that's an AN. Well, if you measure them, they're slightly, the AN is slightly bigger, but I don't think that's because it was made that way. I think the thing is shrunk or something. So our problem is, if you look, see how that's no longer smooth in there? Basically what happened was this thing shorted. If you measure it with a multimeter, it's a dead short. So basically the wire is going around in there, and then at some point it's melted and shorted to another part of the wire. So it's making a short connection from there to there. On this used one that's not shorted, it makes 1200 revolutions from there to there. So there's resistance all along that way. Eventually it comes up and the other end of the wire is connected to there. This one's shorted though. It only goes a little bit through and it's cut or shorted or something. The heat melted the coating off the wire or something. See, the wire has a coating on it so that if the wire touches the other wire, it doesn't actually connect because it's of the coating. But anyway, that one's got a short. So it gets hot because it's got the short, and then it starts melting the sleeve inside, which makes it where the plunger can no longer freely move through there. Okay, so this is the plunger. Luckily we got it before it melted the nylon on it. Okay, so the guy has been telling us he likes it original. He would like it to be as original as possible. So we're going to replace it. And I think I'm just going to put a used one in there. But I don't have an AR. I've only got an AN. I think the only difference is the AR has a different sleeve. So I think all they're telling us is that sleeve is different. That's my opinion. Instead of just the standard sleeve that comes with it. So that sleeve allows you to put a holder. So basically it goes through this end, attaches to the bracket, the stop, right? And then it goes through the other part and is held in place by this. So I believe that that these are functionally, electronically the same. They're just talking about slight differences in maybe diode placement or, yeah, see, it's the same. I think the difference is just going to be the sleeve. Simple as that. Matt, how many ohms resistance should I have if it's 26 gauge, 1200 revolutions?
12 ohms.
12 ohm. Why would you think that?
Well, because 1200, and you take off the zeros, it's 12.
Okay, maybe. Well, whenever I check it, I get 10.7, so.
That's pretty close. 10%.
You were wrong. So all of these will measure the same, regardless of the number, because the windings are the same, you know, and that's what determines how many ohms resistance. All right, so I'm going to clean this one up, put it back in the bracket, and then we'll plug it up and see if that one works. Now, it may not, because we might have that transistor screwed up on the solenoid board. Okay, Matt, we have placed our knocker in there, and I've got it soldered up. So we're going to turn on the game. Now, it was shorted before, but it was shorted in such a way that the plunger couldn't move through it. So it could have killed the driver transistor on the solenoid board.
Right.
If it did, whenever I turn it on, it may lock on. So let's see. So we're going to turn on the game. Didn't lock on, that's a good sign, but it may be completely dead too. So we'll see. Here it comes. Are you ready? Much better than the Future Spa startup sequence.
Yes.
Okay, we are in light test. We are in display test. Here comes the coils. You're going to see a knocker work if it works. Didn't work. But it almost sounds like it tries. You hear it do something. So, right there when it goes, whomp, that was it trying.
Let's see if I feel it vibrating a little bit.
Put your finger down there when it sends that voltage through it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Did it get you?
No.
All right, it's going to be something with the solenoid board. I might have to pull that back out. But all this for a knocker.
That most people unplug.
Yeah, but hell, we got to do it. Okay, we're going to pull the solenoid board back out. Okay, folks, there is the offending party. We replaced it with a tip 102. This one actually still tests. It tests within spec, where the voltage drop is similar to the other ones, but it is a little lower. So whenever it was mounted, although it did test in spec, whenever I tested the resistance of this resistor in circuit, it was different. So if you test just a random one here, let me put it on ohmage. This is why, you know, people say, well, why don't you use like they will say, why don't you use the ring tone to see if it's like, why do you set on some of these, why do you set it on ohms? Well, it's because you can find stuff if you know the exact ohms, it helps you a little bit. So anyway, this resistor tested 307 in circuit. Well, when I was testing this third one, it was testing as 80 ohms in circuit. Let me see if I can get it to do it. So now it's testing 312 ohms in circuit. Okay, so why was that happening? It was because it's tied to the transistor, and the transistor, although it wasn't shorted, had a different, it just wasn't quite right, you know, so it was screwing up. Yeah, so we're good. It was screwing up that, you know, just how some of the stuff worked. So for whatever reason, it must have had it to the point where it couldn't sync that that coil. The interesting thing is that you could hear it trying. So I think this thing was just about half worn out. You could hear it trying. It would go boop, boop, kind of buzz a little bit where something was trying to make the coil fire, but just couldn't quite do it. Another thing that's worth mentioning, if you've got a game and you find yourself in a pinch where something's not working that you need to work, not all of these are used. There's some of these that are mounted on the board that you don't even need, because they designed the board to be capable of more than they ever really accomplished with it. So some of these transistors, if you look on the schematics, aren't even used, which means they're an extra unused transistor that you could remove and put where your bad one is if you needed to. The board will run with the transistor completely missing from the board. Okay, so we're going to go slide it back in the game and see if that gets our knocker working. Oh, it's knocking. It's knocking, Matt. All right, we're going to let people see what a knocker looks like when it knocks. So this is the loud noise you've been hearing all these years. It literally just slaps the cabinet. Think how damn smart they were when they thought that up. Somebody said, hey, I got an idea. When somebody wins a free game, let's put a coil in there that just slaps the shit out of the side of the cabinet, makes a big loud noise, and then somebody in charge said, sure, let's do that. Okay, folks, so we're on to the flippers. So we need to take them actually all the way off the boots. So we're going to take the shafts out and everything. So first thing I'm going to do is loosen up the little Allen, what do they call those? Set screws. Yeah. Allen head set screws. Allen whatever. I'm going to loosen up the set screws and take that out, and we are going to look at the plunger, see what kind of shape it's in, put a new coil sleeve in the coil, and then I think we have to put new boots, new shoes on the actual flippers themselves. So let me start taking stuff apart with the power off, of course. Okay, so in the stroke switches I didn't have to change. They just needed cleaned up, but they looked good, weren't overly pitted or anything. I did change the plungers because they had a pretty good amount of play between the link and the plunger. The Pawl, P-A-W-L, the Pawl there, we didn't need to change. Both of those were still in great shape. And then the coil stops were pretty good, so I left those. There was one screw that was the wrong screw, so I put a new one in. Okay. And then, look how nice. Would you look at that? Now, keeping with the theme, where the guy kind of is doing a wabi-sabi repair. Have you heard that before?
I have not.
Wabi-sabi?
Sounds like the Lone Ranger.
I may have that wrong. Yeah, it might be. I might be confusing it with the Lone Ranger. So wabi-sabi is when you functionally repair something, but you're not like overly concerned with like making it look brand new again. It's like a Japanese term, I believe. Somebody mentioned it to me on one of the channels one time. So, like, I'll give you an example with Joey. Okay. So my brother has a rental house that he used to live in, and he got some bad tenants in there, and they broke one of the tiles in the kitchen, in the floor. Well, it was just one tile, so you could replace the entire freaking floor, or you could just replace that one tile. But you can't get the exact color tile, right? And it was right in the middle of the floor.
You buy a rug.
Huh?
You buy a rug.
So it was in the kitchen. So they got a guy to go over there and repair it for the property rental company, and he replaced the one tile. And it's damn close. Man, it's close. But every time you walk in that room, you can see that one tile is just a slightly different color than everything else. Drives Joey up the freaking wall. But there's no way to fix it, because you'd have to replace all of them. Right?
Right.
But this wabi-sabi crap that I've heard about, I think that's what it is. Google it for me. Are you?
Yep.
Wabi-sabi. See if I got it right. Matt's going to tell us.
All right.
Boy, this is going to be one of our best videos. It's all me ranting about crap that doesn't even matter.
Wabi-sabi, if I'm even spelling it.
Let's see if I got this right. I'm trying to learn here about Japanese culture.
Wabi-sabi?
Wabi-sabi. That's it. What's it say? What's the wiki?
In traditional Japanese aesthetics, wabi-sabi is the worldview centered on the acceptance of the transience and imperfections of the world.
Okay, so what that means is, when you fix something, you don't need to make it perfect, people. You need to make it functional, and it changes from time to time.
Accept the imperfections.
Accept the imperfections. Accept, like A-C-C-E-P-T?
Yes.
Accept the imperfections. Okay, so in the wabi-sabi, is it wabi?
Wabi-sabi, 2 words.
Wabi-sabi, when Joe goes in his kitchen and he sees that one tile is a slightly different color, he shouldn't care, because they fixed it. And that tile's been repaired, so it's slightly different color, right?
Right.
But it drives them up the damn wall. It would drive me crazy, too. I mean, I wouldn't be able to handle it either. And it's a rental house, so he doesn't live there or anything, but... So, my whole point is, in keeping with, back to the pinball machine, in keeping with the wabi-sabi repair, because basically the cabinet's faded, we're going to kind of leave it like that. What I did was, and this is the only reason I did this, the pop bumper caps are original, and they're faded, right? So what I did was, I found a flipper. You can't tell right now, it actually looks like they're off, but I found a used flipper shoe that is the same faded yellow as the original one. Would that be anti-wabi-sabi though? Wabi-sabi, would you just put a brand new looking white one on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I might have this screwed up. But anyway, in keeping with the wabi-sabi, this is the old one we took off. It was all chipped up. So I've got I got another one on there now that's nice and solid. So so that's that. So, okay, let's set the thing down and see what the playfield looks like now. Okay, so we got those lined up pretty good, I believe, and they match. So next, screwing up our wabi-sabi is one of the cards is missing. So we got kind of the same thing. I'm gonna put it on white paper, but they have these clear little windows on them that are filthy. So if I put that on the regular paper, the new paper, it'll look vintage, So I'm going to print new ones. We're going to leave this logo on here where it came from, just because that's kind of neat, Show you where the thing was operated back in the day. But this thing's come a long way, baby. We're down to this, cleaning up the cabinet a little bit, and it's bugging the hell out of me that the bottom line's missing. if you didn't watch that on the earlier video, basically it's the glass. It can't be repaired without putting a new glass in it, and we need to get a hold of the guy and ask him if he wants us to get a new glass for it, or just leave it, maybe move it over to the 4th player one, or swap it out with another. I think I might have one that's got some burn on it. Might swap it out with that, or if he wants us to order him another one, or what the deal is. But that's kind of one of the only little issues. And of course we have to test play it. So, but next I'm going to print out these cards, and we'll see how they look in there. Okay, so we put new cards on it. Put the old one down on the bottom, the one that was still there. They're a little bit too white, but you know, it's just the paper, so maybe we can get away with it, right? And then the display, I looked in the back, and I had one that was burnt up a little bit. This one. See, that second digit's not quite right. But it does show the whole score, so I think it's better than the one that was in there. And that one is the one that was over there. So I think that'll work a little better for him. So we are down to, it's time to put the back glass in. And I'm going to clean the cabinet up a little bit. And I'm going to adjust the leg levelers a little bit, maybe give it a little more of a slant. And then we got to test play it. So let's, the back glass I showed in an earlier video, it's in pretty nice shape. The bottom of it's a little messed up, but it's got some tape on it that somebody put on it years ago. So this is what it looks like without it. And let's pop it in. What a cool back glass. Man, that thing rocks. So sweet. Just looks awesome. Okay, so I'm going to adjust the legs a little bit, and then we'll test play it for just a second. But you know, I got to do a whole video showing us playing it too. But I'll give it a little slant, and then we'll test play it and see how she plays. All right, folks. So we adjusted the legs, cleaned it up a little bit. Got the front ones all the way in. The back ones are about 2/3 of the way out. It gives it a nice little slant, similar to what we've got on the 8-ball over there. Boy, this thing's looking great. So we're going to see if it'll start a game for us. Matt, what song is this?
Want to rock and roll all night?
Exactly. Freaking rocks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What a rockin' song. I don't know, Matt. Seems to be working pretty good. Trap the ball. Trap the ball, Matt. Oh, I missed it. I was going for it, but it didn't happen. See, I am getting better at playing with one hand because I have to hold the camera in another hand. Look at all that dust and crap up there on the top of the play field. I got to clean that off now. Well, folks, we're going to do a whole other video of playing it just to see it, put it through its motions and test it out a little bit. But I think we've about got it. Whoa, it slid it right by me. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think so far. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Hey, Matt, check out the kiss lights on the back box. Matt's cheating. He's trying to take away my fun. It hopped a little bit on that inlay. We might have to adjust that a little bit. Oh, I was going to let it hit the bounce to the left one, Matt. All right, so we'll do another video where we play it. What are you doing, Matt? When I don't want you to hit it, you hit it. When I do want you to hit it, you don't hit it. What the hell? Matt, you didn't plunge it right. All right, right, so leave your comments below. The knocker worked. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film all this crap for you. And we'll see you on the next video. Now, if you haven't checked out our website in a while, it's time for you to go check it out. Go to lionsarcade.com. We have prices, pictures, and descriptions of all of the arcade games that we have available for sale right now, the pinball machines, jukeboxes, all of that. We have a parts page where we put up some of the tools and stuff that we use in our repairs. And we also have merchandise on there. So we have, wait a minute. I see a light out. Matt, did you make a light go out? Oh, man.
Which one?
I'm going to blame it on Matt. So we have a website. Check out our parts page where we have some of our merchandise. So we have t-shirts, hats. We don't have hats, I'm just saying it. T-shirts, mugs, things like that. Check that out. And make sure to check out, last but not least, my brother Donnie. That's my brother channel. He's literally my brother, Donnie. If you like watching us work on these old pinball machines, you may enjoy watching us work on old buildings. What's going on here, Matt? What is up with that? And what is up with that? You know what I think? I think in the attract mode, those lights never light up. Now, why would they do that to us?
I couldn't tell you.
Isn't that strange? Doesn't it look like those would light up? You know how I can figure it out?
How's that?
So check out my brother Donnie. He is restoring some old buildings in beautiful downtown Jefferson, South Carolina, near here. And if you like watching us work on these pinballs, you would love watching he and I work on those old buildings. So go check that out. So what do you think, Matt? What are the odds? Are my two bulbs not working right, or is it just a weird thing with the software?
Are they on the same line?
I don't know. You see what I'm seeing?
I'm going to say
What do you think?
bulbs.
What do you think? You think the bulbs, huh?
Yep. Just taking a guess.
What in the world? We had it perfect, Matt, till you started playing it. I had every one of them working, and you started pushing buttons and stuff. That's the same thing you did to the 8-ball. Man.
Oh.
These things, they have a real problem with the sockets, man. There's a big plate in there that they're all soldered to. It looks like we're going to do a little more solder work, Matt. But hey, they're mostly working. If it ain't one thing, it's another. All right, we'll keep messing with those, folks. But we'll see you on the next video where we'll give it a little playthrough. Hope you enjoyed it.